Well, Mr. Ed Harbison,
Yes, sir.
I'm so glad to have you with me today. I'm trying to see. Oh, it was at your. I was at some kind of event. It was announcing or celebrating your retirement.
Yes.
I think it was
One of 6 that's been held so far. Yes.
Well, let me just say, I remember Miss Pat.
Yes.
She said, "Oh, you got to get Ed on your show."
Right.
And so I said, you know what? I didn't know why I didn't think about that. I've been trying to run everything else. I don't know why I didn't think about that. But I'm so glad that she stopped me because I admire your work.
Well,
I admire
thank
who
you.
you are. I admire not just what you've done for the state of Georgia, but I admire the man of God that you are. And so thank you for joining me.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and thank you for having a godly presentation and a prayer before we started. I thought that was so appropriate to always acknowledge God in all that we do.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Now, Mr. Ed, for the viewers who don't know, tell me, who is Ed Harbison?
I'm still trying to find that out. I'm still
Really?
working. I'm still working on it.
All these years, you're still trying to find out.
I'm working on it. Seek and you shall find. I believe.
Okay.
But I know I will. I know I will.
Yeah. Take me to who, like, I want to go through your childhood.
Sure.
I want to, so we
by
can
all
find
means.
out who you are. I want to take me, if me and you were riding in your favorite car,
Right.
okay, and we were riding down the street that you grew up on.
Right.
Tell me where it was and what it was like.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I was born in Prattville, Alabama.
Okay.
That's a community about 14 miles north of Montgomery, Alabama. We grew up there. My maternal parents came out of Autauga County. My maternal parents came out of Autaugaville.
Okay.
So my mom, I was raised by my mother and my grandmother, Rebecca Parker Griffin, Annabelle Minder, who greatly influenced me. And they were the kind of people, they were not very educated in a formal sense.
Sure.
But they were the smartest people I knew. And I so greatly admired them looking back on it and appreciated even then going through it because they showed love, they showed concern, and they knew how to do things that I thought was amazing even after I grew up. You know, I said, how did they survive on a dime like that? How did they do that?
Right.
So as a consequence, when I wrote my book called Getting Butter from a Duck. And I did that based on a saying that my grandmother would
grandmother
do.
used to say that too.
Are you kidding me, Matthew?
And she used to say that to me, but she used to say it to me when she wanted to get scolded.
That's
when
exactly
she was scolding,
right.
She said, I'm going to get butter from the duck.
Yeah, you got to achieve it. And I heard Miss, the lady owned Royal Cafe, Quincy, talk about her saying that when she would get, I'll show you how to get butter from a duck. My football coach also did it, Buddy Davis. He would say, you got to show him how to get butter from a duck, son. Yes, sir, Coach.
I didn't know that was a saying.
Oh, it was very prominent in that era. Okay. And so my grandmother was a strict disciplinarian, but not without love, and you never felt unloved.
I feel that.
There's a great difference, I would think.
I feel that.
And she, my mom, off of the small wages they made, my mom had 9 children.
Wow.
And my grandmother and we, in that environment in Prattville, Alabama, we lived in a one-room shack, half of a shotgun house.
Okay.
All bundled together.
Really?
But in that, the glue that held it together was love.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was a situation where we were required to go to church on Sunday. We had the one blue serge suit, and we ironed it. We ironed it until it turned purple. But we had to do it, you know, and we had to say the Bible verses and those kinds of things.
So you got a good childhood. You had a good childhood.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was absence of money, but abundant love. So I think that was a great exchange for me. I wouldn't change that for nothing in the world.
I love that. What's one lesson your mother and father taught you that still sticks with you today?
Yeah, to care about others. You had a sense that, and I saw it in real action with my mothers and all the women in that environment. They would stick together. Each one reach one, each one help one, from quilting together to make one quilt for that particular community, and you make one for me, I make one for you. And if they needed a cup of sugar, whatever that, you could borrow it without being scolded or ostracized for asking for a cup of sugar. That kind of thing that wasn't prevalent then. So I learned from them that there are people you knew that you could trust, and then you could discern those people that you could not, and then you would just stay silent and stay away from them, avoid that kind of thing. So my grandmother had this saying: if you can't say anything good about somebody,
then
don't say nothing. So I think that was one of the things. But in my life, I've had many sayings and models to get that from, and they were right. It's just, why hit a horse and beat him while he's down? I mean, but people seem to glory in it now. It's a wonderful thing
now.
It's a thing.
It's
to
a
try
thing
to
now.
outshine the other person and
man.
look better and the crabs in a barrel kind of thing.
It's horrible.
But we got to pray for them and not put them down so much.
Growing up as a young black man in the South, what were the biggest obstacles you had to overcome?
I think it was truly poverty, and I don't mean in the sense that it would stymie some kind of spiritual growth. As a matter of fact, it grew. The spiritual side of it grew greatly in that environment. But when we moved from Prattville to Montgomery, the projects there in Montgomery, it was a challenge for my mom trying to raise 9 children, making $15 a week and trying to pay the rent and the power bill and those kinds of things. So they were fighters, never gave up, and I just saw that. It just inspired me, and I promised myself if I ever get someplace to help my mom and do this and grow up, and I'm going to reach out and say, "Here, Mom, I'm going to help you." And so I loved it. She lived to almost 96 years old. And
you eventually did that, though.
I did. I did.
Let me tell you, there's nothing. I don't think there's any better feeling as a son. And I'm thinking of right now. There's no better feeling as a son than to take care of the people he loved.
Amen.
And that's
Absolutely.
mainly his mom, his dad, and maybe an uncle, grandmother. But there's no better feeling in this world.
That's right. You're uniquely blessed.
Yeah, it's like when God blesses you, you got to take care of them people that help you, man.
Absolutely.
It keeps you humble.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we said earlier, and we approached that nowadays it seems that you got to be upfront and loud and proud and all that. But I just wasn't raised that way. I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
But I believe that you should be responsible.
You should.
You should be responsible.
You should.
And even if someone puts that forth for you, you shouldn't retaliate. You should try to look at it, and maybe they will learn from your mannerism and how you deal with it. So, I try to love everybody.
No, you're right. You're right. You have to. There's this feeling inside of every man you just gotta you're gonna take care of the people.
Absolutely.
It's almost like it's something that drives you too.
That's right.
It drives you.
Right.
Let me ask you this, because you have been you've been a representative for Georgia for the 15th Senate since 1993.
That's right. 34 years.
34 years.
Will have been. That's right.
Dean of Georgia Senate.
Yes.
Okay. Leader.
Yes.
Okay. That's you.
That's right.
When did you realize that you were called to be a leader?
Now, I'm going to be honest with you, as I possibly can. It took me a long time to realize. Now, don't get me wrong. I practiced what I was preaching before I realized what I was doing, as it were. Mm-hmm. When I was elected to the Georgia State Senate and will have served the 34 years, it along that journey, along the way, made me realize, and I accepted, and I took up that mantle. When in the Bible it says everybody can be great because everybody can serve. Dr. King said it, the Bible says it, Jesus said it.
Yeah.
So I really believe that. I really embraced it, and I didn't set out to make money. I set out to make sure that I could be the best servant that I could be in the context of being elected to the Georgia State Senate. And that is when it sort of came up on me. And really, at the end of this, or as we approach the end of my tenure, the reaction from the people that I served with, it surprised me. I'm being honest with you. It just really almost shocking. I didn't expect it, didn't look for it, but it came that way, and I was just blessed.
That normally happens like that.
It's just like, well, I never expected that, and the gold watch and all that kind of talk, but people saying the kind words that they said and demonstrating.
Yeah, you never really know.
I never really know how you affect people.
Yeah, you never really know.
Or I had somebody's lights turned on, or I had a little girl that I donated money to, a little boy that I helped go through school, a young man I helped get in the military. Cadet, became a cadet in West Point and all that kind of, I mean, along the way you do those things until it piles up along the way, but you realize at the end of it, as you approach it, wow, is that what I did? But so count your blessing one by one.
Exactly.
Count your blessings.
No, you should, that's so true.
And you sow those seeds you planted give great spiritual dividends to my soul that I really helped somebody. I made a difference. And you don't realize the total of the impact. The totality really astounds me and amazes me.
Yeah, I think that's great evidence that you're called to do something.
Right.
When you're not doing it for notoriety or anything that, but you're just doing it because this is what God called me to do.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's great evidence of you knowing exactly what God has for you is right where you are.
Yes.
So it's great. It's great. You said that you were in the war and you also earned a Purple Heart.
Yes.
Did that change you? How did it change you? Because, I've spoken to a lot of people who have been in war and been soldiers, and sometimes it changes them.
Anytime you're in a war, if you come out unchanged, I think that's a far-fetched notion because obviously you go through that process of being in combat and being shot at and shooting at other people and the killing and the chaos of combat.
Yeah.
It affects you and it makes you more and more appreciate the life that God gave you, and then he gives you an extension to do more in another arena such as politics, which I never thought about being. When I came out of Montgomery, Alabama, nobody, my teacher, maybe not even a teacher. Maybe if I could make $100 a week, I thought I was cooking, that kind of thing. But becoming a state senator just never occurred to me.
How did that happen? How did you just fall? The opportunity just came to you, or how did that happen?
When I moved to Columbus from Atlanta, I was doing a radio station up there, WQXI, and working there with a group of reporters at the time. And when I moved here, I got involved with WOKS and Fox 105 Radio at that particular time. But one day I was working, and a former state senator said he was leaving and that he wanted me to take his place. I said, no, I just, nothing I would do. I thought about Gary Parker was the guy who did it. I said, no, I don't politics. But I'm a reporter.
I do radio.
I do radio and television.
I do politics. Come on.
And he said, no, man. He said, people like you. They'll vote for you. And I said, I thought that was a lofty thing that he had become very accustomed to. And so I looked at it, but in the meantime, a man named by the name of Sanford Bishop came to me and said, Ed, look, I've always wanted to be in the Senate. He was in the House at the time. Right. And I think, why don't you run for my seat, and I'll run for the Georgia State Senate, and that way we'll both be elected.
Wow.
So I just backed off. I said, no, I don't think I want to do that. And I don't know why I said it that way. It was not what he said. I just backed off and let him because I thought
I didn't know
this.
this.
Yes, when he left the House of Representatives, he went to the Senate, but he only served one term. And when he served the term and said, well, now I want to go to Congress. And he went to Congress, and when he went to Congress, I went to the Georgia State Senate, which is amazing. And I said, well, you know what, this time I think I'm going to run. And I did, and I won.
And you won. And you've been in politics for
ever since.
Years.
I had opponents, but by the grace of God, I prevailed in all the elections I had, and very, very honored by the people of Columbus, Georgia, and the surrounding areas to have served. I'm just very honored to have served.
Well, we're honored to have had you. You know, a lot of people would take your life and write courage next to it because it took you a lot of courage to do what you're doing and do what you have done. And I'm pretty sure there were rooms that you were in where you had to use courage to speak up for the people that you serve. Do you think courage is something you're born with?
I think it is something that is forced upon us to be developed. And what I mean by that, as an example, coming up in Montgomery, Alabama, the night that the Freedom Riders came through Montgomery and they were chased to Dr. Abernathy's church, there were a group of about 3,000 white people outside threatening to kill everybody in that church. And myself and my mom, we were in that church.
Really?
And we had to be escorted home by the National Guard under the threat of violence. So my point is that it took courage to stay in there, not just run, but then you had to stay and face it.
Right.
Over a period of time, perhaps, that kind of courage is developed because it is not a matter of you not being afraid. It's a matter of you doing what you have to do, even under the a threat of violence, or someone else can make some kind of retaliation against you. So courage is something that you have to sort of reinvent every time you're faced with that kind of threat or any kind of threat. You yourself, for an example, it takes courage to do certain things. Step out on faith. You know, I have courage enough to say, God will be God. He will take care of me. I will step out on faith, and I know He will bless me. And I have faith that it will be there when I get there. I'm going to conceive this idea. I believe it in my heart, and in the end, it's achieved because God made it ready for you. You just got to work through the words that He gave you and remember what they said and walk towards that goal. You know, and it's always okay sometimes to go down a one-way street. God allows U-turns. So it's okay to be like that. It's okay to understand that, you know, you're going to have some fallacies and some shortcomings along the way, but that's okay to stumble as long as you get up. You know, that's the test, I think, of having true courage.
What do you think, why do you think people stay down? Because they do fall and they don't get up. And at some point they choose to stay down. Why do you think that happens for my generation, let's just say?
I believe that your generation is just as equipped with the same stuff that we had, my parents had, and their parents had. I think there's a reluctance or inability to access that kind of stuff within their own heart, within their own spirit, and they don't unlock that door in themselves. And it's a matter of self-denial, or I don't think I can do it. Or they don't have enough stuff to believe in themselves, regardless of whether the parents have told them or not.
Right.
And the parents have probably told them that, and they've seen it in action, but they choose not to walk that way and to be redundant enough, say it enough, speak it into reality. I think that's what's happening. Right now, I think the violence, perception of violence that's amok sometimes in our community is there because maybe we fell off on the job. Even in the civil rights movement, I believe that we took our foot off the gas and we looked off for a moment and we thought we had arrived. but we forgot that the civil rights movement was not one battle. It's has the aspects of a war. That is, you have to wage it eternally, just like good and evil. You have to fight it and renew it and manage it and keep it spruced up, so to speak, and ready to go. Like in a church, you have to build the church, a house, you got to redo the windows and redo the roof. You have to do those things.
Right.
But
so you're saying it's a process. We're still. So what you're saying is that it's a process that we're still trying to develop.
Amen. And I think we sort of let those people slip, and we need to grab them because they are worthy to be redeemed. And we need to make that commitment with ourselves as a community and as each individual. When you see some young child doing something, and if you approach them the right way, if you say, hey, brother, let me talk to you a minute. Can I talk to you a minute about that? And perhaps they'll listen. If they don't, try again. But approach with dignity, with respect, and you get that dignity and respect in return. And people will begin to trust you and understand what you're trying to, even if they get it a year later or 2 years later, at least you're going down that road and say, did that guy tell me, he told me about this. I think I'm going to ride that horse now.
I love that.
That's how I think it works.
Yeah, I do think, I do think that we do have to, we have to take our time with our young people because
Be patient.
they have a level of, trauma and hurt that we oftentimes don't recognize because ours has been so deep.
Well, think about it. Think about what has been happening to them over the years.
Yeah.
They have all these distractions that perhaps, especially my generation, didn't have. We had 3 radio stations, ABC, CBS, and 1 radio station, But now they have 100 stations, social media, and they're looking at that stuff and they're mesmerized by it, as a matter of fact. People walking down the street not paying attention to where they're going, but where that little thing in their hand is leading them.
Right.
So once they divorce that and put it in perspective, use it as a necessary tool. As a tool, not as something that's just going to dominate your entire life. You live and breathe that. It's okay. It's a great communicator to keep in contact with your family, what you need to do. But it's a tool, not something to dominate your life like that. It's to be made better.
It's a tool, not instructions.
That's exactly right. And I think that's where we are. People, man, I want to be a creator and all that kind of stuff. Well, people, that's okay. That's wonderful if they do it, but keep it in perspective and reach out and touch some young kid. Don't leave them hanging. If you see them, I see young people right now doing things that I really want to say things to, but I try to pick the time that's right because you don't want to walk up to them and act like you're the daddy or the mom or something like that.
Yeah, that's a threat now.
That's a threat. They perceive it as a threat.
It's a different generation.
What do you want,
time.
old school? Something like that.
Right.
So you want to make sure you approach them with respect and dignity.
You're right. You're right. Back to you serving in the politics for so many years. I wonder, what's the greatest privilege of your career?
Well, to serve, to be elected and never defeated by the citizens of Muskogee County, Taylor, Talbot, Sly, Chattahoochee, and Talbot County. I'm just honored. That's a great honor, to have served that many years. I don't think in the future, people like myself or other long-term people like that, I don't think that's going to happen in the future. I think it's going to be quicker turnovers. There have only been about 5 people serving the 15th, and I'm the longest serving one out of all of them.
Right.
I think the next longest one was Floyd Hudgens. He did about 15 years or something like that. The others like 2 years, 1 year, things like that. So it is uniquely refreshing and a unique blessing for me to have served that many years and try to be as effective as I could. Not perfect, just just let me try. I tried to do better. And look, don't come back to me to tell me that you didn't do that right. Well, tell me. Tell me when I'm
Tell
doing
me then.
Tell me then so
Yeah.
I can correct it. And if I do well, tell somebody else. You don't have to come back and tell me. Just make sure you can make it multiply.
Oh,
and
I love
then
that.
teach young people. And a lot of young people got the wrong idea about people who are in service. They think, oh, he is all that, she is all that. They think, and they feel removed, generationally speaking. They feel removed. When I was an old school guy, he doesn't understand this. But they don't realize one thing. I came up that same road. I had to climb that same mountain, and you got to where you are now. So it's a path that you can take. It's a beaten path. And all you have to do is traverse it with love, with determination, and faith that I can be the best I can be. And they can do it.
And you did it.
And they did it.
Yeah.
But they can do it too. But it's not some barrier between us. It's just a roadmap of what you can do to achieve what you want to do. One of the roadmaps out there.
You know, you've watched Columbus change over decades. And you've seen a lot, have been involved in a lot in terms of Columbus. I wonder what makes you proud, and then what also still breaks your heart about Columbus or Georgia in general.
Well, I really am rejoiced in my heart to see the primary bulk of Columbus, the youth people here. Some of them have gone on to be national figures, basketball, football, entertainment, Dallas, Austin. I mean, I could go on naming them. And they, not only the people who have achieved, but those people who have become kind of like the journey people who makes a difference, who make the middle class be as solid as it is. People don't understand every community needs a solid middle class, and we have that. You mentioned the one name, 100-year-old right now.
Yeah, Mr.
That
James.
kind of contribution, they are staying power. The members of the church, the ministers of this community, they grow up and they hang in there and they sacrifice every day. People don't realize how you pour out from yourself into others to make it a better place to live. And you can make a difference. I'm proud of the ability of the younger people I saw come up. Baker High School, Hardaway, Carver, Spencer, and the teachers who made the sacrifices, buy them clothes or pay for their meals and things like that. As it was done to me in Montgomery, Alabama. When you were hungry going to school, they overcame it for you by giving you a quarter. They heard your stomach growling from back of the classroom, you know. You know, you were trying to fool them, but they knew you were hungry. You want to, Harbison, are you hungry? No, ma'am. You know, but they heard you growl.
They took care of you.
But they took care of you.
But what still breaks your heart about Columbus or Georgia?
And the thing that I think what has creeped into the political arena, I'm really disappointed at that. But it's sweeping the country. I know that. But prayerfully, Columbus will be able to redeem itself, regroup, and sort of back out of this thing that we do with crime among our youth people. It's just way out of control. It's too much of it. And people,
do you think the crime has increased since the time of your generation, or has it decreased?
It appears to have increased, and I say that because it's so much mass communication now, and so people can, by word of mouth, by phone, and every apparatus you can think of in communication, you get the word. And when I was coming up, I put the word out about what was happening in Columbus on the radio as a reporter. Now you got not only about 5 or 6 television reporters and TV reporters and radio reporters, but you got everybody who owns a phone is a reporter.
So are you saying?
And I think we inundated with more information about negative things, about crime, and about maladjustments and things like that. I think that's the problem.
That's what's breaking your heart.
Yeah, it breaks my heart to see that. And we need to. We need to believe more in one another and embrace Jesus. Embrace the fact that we can make a difference if we try. Never underestimate the power of Jesus. All we got to do is take it forward. tell people that the good news about Jesus. Tell him that, hey, tell her about Jesus and the impact he can make on your life.
Amen.
Don't become disheartened because you've had a situation with a child and you want to drop out of school. You can make it.
Or disheartened that because Jesus didn't show up the way you wanted him
That's
to.
exactly right. That's exactly right. Absolutely.
Yeah, some people have that.
They have one expectation. That's another way.
And it messes their whole look of who Jesus is.
And you don't have to wear Air Jordan sneakers in order to be looked upon as a favorite son.
That's true.
And one of the biggest things my brothers and I would always laugh about is that we didn't have the clothes that the other guy had. You know, he was sharp, and we were somehow thinking that, well, the girls don't like us. They like Johnny because he has new clothes and he you know, they got a car. We have to walk to school every day, and we don't have lunch money and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the girl, years later, they would say, well, you know, I like you, but you wouldn't say anything to me. You know? So I put up the barrier. We put up the barrier. They didn't. They want another thing.
What's one opportunity? What's a asset to Columbus that people don't think is an asset to Columbus?
Oh, the location, the resources we have here, the rapids that we can shoot, Fort Benning, the museums here, Ma Rainey House. I think we have so much here to offer. All you have to do is come and see. And I believe it or not, a lot of children from outside of Columbus, Atlanta, community, they tell me, well, my child goes to Atlanta, and legislators' children go here. So they're discovering, and you can see by the traffic jams we get in now, more and more people seem to be discovering the jewel that Columbus is, that shiny place on the hill that it can be. And I think all of the clubs out there that are making sure that we maintain, we keep our streets clean, that we have the splosh tax and all those things to take care of those kind of things. Take care of our city.
Yeah.
Make it pretty. Clean up the places that need to be cleaned up. And I think we can make a difference that way.
You know, I believe that too. But the only problem I have with that, Mr. Ed, is that the people don't think that their city is worth anything.
They think Atlanta is all that and a box of crackers.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. Like, it's one thing for you to say that, but how do we get our people here in the city to believe that?
You got to keep telling them. You got to keep showing them. You got to keep exposing them to, look, appreciate all that we have. Remember this, who that said a man can't be a prophet in his own hometown? People got all these resources here, and sometimes they have to go off and visit other places and come back and say, you know what? Columbus is a nice town. It's a great city. We have assets here.
Right.
I know the people. I can go here and I can do that. There's nothing in Atlanta that we don't have here. It's just more of it.
Right.
And they have more problems than anything else. And they have great problems in Atlanta. Trust me, they do.
No,
I love Atlanta. But I'm just saying there are great problems there. Columbus escaped some of that because we can grab hold of it quicker because we don't have the demographics, the larger population that Atlanta does.
What's your hope for Columbus for the next 10 years? What do you hope Columbus will be?
I hope that the new elected people will be more like brotherly and more sisterly to one another in their deliberations. Columbus at one time, I think, and I believe a lot of people outside of Columbus have a great idea of how Columbus used to work, the public-private partnerships we grabbed hold of. People like Jim Blanchard, Calvin Smyer, and all of the people who went to put together this stuff together myself. I can name 100 people, and I hope I didn't leave somebody out, but I promise you it was just a lot of people understood that, and they got on board and forgot their egos at the door and embraced the project at hand and put it in motion and made it happen from the Civic Center to the Indigo, and I'm just saying all of the
ballpark
to all that's to the ballpark, in which I played a part in that, very privately, and I won't speak about it yet, but I did, and things like that. But just make it happen.
Yeah.
We got the baseball team here, things like that. And now, sure, you can go to see the Atlanta Braves, but you can go see our version of the Atlanta Braves without all that traffic and all that. Trying to get
without all the and then you can go home faster.
Yeah, you go faster.
And then you can enjoy it. They even do like fireworks now. So.
That's exactly right. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And sometimes people just don't really appreciate where they are.
Yeah,
the
you know,
hometown.
but you know
Columbus
what I've been
is
hearing?
great. You can badmouth it, just like the streets, man. There's nothing to do here. I hear that. But they're so wrong. There is something to do.
There is.
What is important is what you want to do.
That's right.
What you have in mind to do.
Good.
You know, let's talk about that.
No, that's good. That's good. And because I just believe this. I believe that there's nothing wrong with the city. There's something wrong with the people and their belief in the city.
Absolutely.
So it's not the people and not the city, it's the belief system.
That's right.
And I just believe that there are a handful of young people like I who have big dreams.
Yes.
Not much resources, but gonna make it happen and gonna stay here and build this city up.
Build it.
Yeah.
And they will do it. We need one thing I would embrace the jobs for the people who finishing school, coming out of college, Columbus Technical College. I think they need jobs.
They do.
And that is why people like people in Taylor County and my counties over in Casita, they are losing population dramatically because that great magnet called Atlanta, they are drawing them up there, and that's where they're going for job because there's no job. Now, that's one door we need to open up and develop in a more dramatic way so people can say, hey, look, I'm not going anywhere. Why should I? Because I can get a job right here at Columbus at one of the great businesses we have here.
You're right. You're right.
More Aflacs and more things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thesis and more.
Absolutely.
We need more of that. And I think that will grow more Pratt and Whitney.
Yeah.
And I think over the years will grow dramatically.
What do you say? And I want to move on to the next thing. But what do you say to people who say, well, they're just building this stuff for us to pay for it later, like the jail that people are talking about, and this data center, and the ballpark that you had a private part in.
Right.
Like, what do you say to people who say, you know what, they're just building all this? And we the ones paying for it. They ain't paying a dime, but we paying for it. And what do you say to people who say that?
Well, in the first place, I leave and I pay for it too. That's the first place. Yeah. And it's irresponsible in your mind to think that you can build something. You can have roads and you can have transportation develop in the city and those kinds of things that a city has to thrive on.
Yep.
And services for people who at defects and all those have law enforcement. You got to have taxes. You got to have order in the city in order to do that. And guess what? You got to pay for it. You got to pay for it. We are building it. They're right. We're building it for people, and you got to pay for it. But it should be done in a responsible way. Not tax the people who can least afford it. Not tax the aged people. Not tax the people who are our military people who paid their dues, and we give them exemptions and those kinds of things. If you're over 65, we give you exemption. If you make a certain salary down below, you get exemption and tax credits for that. So, there's an attempt to be very fair about the distribution of taxes and responsibility in that context. So, but you got to pay for it.
You do. You got to pay for it.
If you don't pay for it, you won't have it.
Yeah, you won't have it.
And then you'll be complaining about, well, I can't catch a bus.
Oh, why they get new stuff and we don't?
How come? Why you leaving us out? That's exactly right.
As one of the longest serving legislators in Georgia, black legislators, how were you not able to allow your color to handicap you?
Well, I believed, I'm trying to say the best way I possibly can, and the first thing I think of it because I don't see myself first as a black man. Now, let me explain that. I don't see myself as a black man with a handicap, like I can't walk, I can't feel, I can't talk. I was always taught that if someone puts you in the context of being a black man, well, you show them that you're twice as good. Twice as, what I mean by that, the Jesse Owens effect. Jesse Owens, those people are taught you had to be twice as good.
Yep.
You make twice as good a presentation in order to be accepted or to make a dent for people to say, well, they are good.
Yeah.
But my point of it is, and I don't meet people along racial lines in the first place. I don't get that. You know, you meet a person, they're good, they're a good friend, they're good people, black and white, or Hispanic, whatever they are. So if you meet people along race only, I think you lose something in the mix. You make a mistake. First, well, that's a black person, that's a white person, and they can't do this, they can't do this. And I think you miss out on a lot of what humanity has to offer in order to put that roadblock up about someone along those lines. I'm a proud black man. Thank God I am. I was raised by a black mama, birthed by a black daddy, granddaddy, and those kind of things. So I have a long history of
black.
people I've been black a long time, and they are survivors by the grace of God. So, you know,
But you didn't allow the color.
I don't allow that to put a roadblock in front of my path. If you see it, listen, somebody once told me that obstacles are the thing you see when you take your eye off your goal. And I'm not going to sit around and contemplate my navel and say, well, I'm a black man, I shouldn't go there, I can't go there.
Right.
I just say, hey, if God say I can do it, I believe I can do it, I can achieve it and put it in motion, that's what I'll do.
Yeah, we do. We definitely, as black people, gotta stop assuming that our color prohibits us from being in certain rooms or being in certain conversations.
That's right.
Because that's not true.
That's right.
That's not true.
That's right.
Everywhere I am, I'm supposed to be. And if I'm not supposed to be there, God won't have me there.
Absolutely.
And so I believe that. I do believe that. What's one conversation?
And if you run into that kind of thing where somebody's going to judge you by your color, don't become idiotized by it. Don't become mesmerized and be restrictive in your growth physically and spiritually and employment. Say, well, look, you think that, but I'm not going to buy into your nightmare for my dream. And I'm going to keep on walking because I know I am somebody and I'm going to get. I'm going to get where I'm, by the grace of God, where I'm going, I'm going to get there.
I love that.
You can't let yourself be stymied or stifled by that. Jealousy, envy, and all those kind of things. I'm not going to put that on my shoulder. I'm going to keep going.
It's a weight.
Free,
it's a weight I don't need.
Free and easy. I'm easy ahead. I'm going straight ahead. I'm blessed. You know what I mean?
What's one conversation America still refuses to have?
It is so now sort of a re-emergence of not I won't say a renaissance, but a re-emergence, a kind of reformation about people. The race thing is on a lot of people's mind. You brought it up in one aspect earlier. I think a lot of people want a resolution, and I don't know whether it's about compensation so much as it is about what you did to me. I think it's like a therapy for the nation, and then you put it behind you and walk on. But you, like I said, you cannot become idiotized by that. You got to understand that although it's been going on for years, I know what people say. They say, look, the Japanese were interned in internment camps. For many years, they were compensated. The Native Americans were compensated. Well, what about black people? A lot of black people want to have that kind of conversation. They do. But at the same time, I don't let that be a major part of my agenda, that it stifles me. Sure, we all probably say, well, that was unfair. Slavery was. We came out of slavery environment. But you don't let that make you be in one place and you cannot develop, you cannot go forward because you can't get past goal.
Yeah.
And I think believe
that's
in
a
God.
Conversation.
Absolutely.
That's a conversation America's refusing to have.
That's what I believe that they refuse to have. But I think believe in people. They are good people. There are good people out there who want to do good things. And I think if you reach out and try to embrace them, they'll embrace you in return. It's a great opportunity to be alive in America.
Yeah.
It's a great opportunity to have your neighbor. It's a great place to be in Columbus, Georgia.
Yeah.
If we just believe in it, step out on faith, and look to develop and make your contribution, you'll be a king. I mean, king in your castle is what I'm saying. And I think that's wonderful.
Yeah.
What you've done is just wonderful. It's something that you've done. I can see the godliness of what you're trying to spread out there.
you.
And it's right. It's good. And it should do one thing, multiply, because
I
God
believe
go and grow. That's right.
I believe that. Miss Ed, let's go behind closed doors just
All
for
right,
a minute.
let's talk about it.
You know, you have done so much here in the city, and you're very well known. I wonder, and this will help. This will help. I believe this will help somebody who's in your position or wants to be in your position. So, I wonder what's something you've carried privately that very few people know about, and how did you get over it?
Privately, okay, okay, all right. For instance, one thing happened to me very early on. I was out of Montgomery, Alabama. I dropped out of high school. I dropped out of school. And I dropped out because of economic situation in the family. Mom was working by herself, trying to make a living for all of us, making $15 a week. How do you do that?
Yeah,
you pay your rent, your light, your gas, water, and those kinds of things, and feed the family. So I dropped out, and I dropped out to make 31 cents an hour, $20 a week, basically.
Yeah.
And it really, I knew what I was doing was not my destiny. I knew that. I knew it when I did it, but I just felt I had no other choice in order to help mom. You know how you feel about your mom, you know, and your family, you know. And so I'm going to say this in the way it happened very briefly. I hope I can summarize it.
Yes.
When I was there after a short period of time, maybe 6 months, a year or so, in Prattville, Alabama, working in a rural area, and the baling hay, and cotton, and canes, and plowing, and all those kinds of all the things that go with the rural environment and farms. One night, first night it started, a voice came to me, a figure in my dream that said, "You're a dropout, huh?" And left. I said, well, man, I just went on about my business. The next night, a dream came to me again. Some guy, some person, you are a high school dropout, and left again. You know, and for a whole week, it's every night I dream constantly, and just every night just bugging me to get on.
Wow,
say, what is this about? What is this?
Yeah,
you know. So after about maybe a week and a half, I said, you know what? You know, I'm going to get thee out of Jericho. I'm getting out of here.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go back and go to school, and I will never drop out again as long as I live. So I went back to that bad environment, bad in the sense that, you know, there was not enough money, but it was a lesson too. It taught me that you can do things that you can't, that you think you can't do.
Yeah.
So I went back to school, and I knew I needed a hook. So I went back to school, and I was never bad in books. I was pretty smart about that kind of thing. So I went back to school, and I never dropped out again. I finished high school, but my point was this. I knew I had to find some reason to stay in school. I learned football, basketball, track, the drama club. I got the starring role in the plays and stuff like that.
Wow.
And it's just something, I was kind of reserved a lot, but I knew I had to do that in order to stay in school. And I struggled and got through it, and I was passing out napkins in the lunchroom line for $5, the principal of the school, because I was such a player, they thought.
You hustling. $1.
And he said, "Hey, here, pass out the napkin. We'll give you $5. So I was saved by $5 a week every Friday, and so
that was something that you battled.
That's right.
Privately.
That I never talked about.
Wow.
Not much.
Wow.
But the thing is,
thanks for sharing that.
But it was the truth. You know, it's something that I did, and it was a great lesson in that.
And you know, and I think oftentimes when we're going through trials and tribulations, we don't see the lesson in it.
That's right.
We only see the pain and the turmoil of it, but we don't see that if you can just get through this, I promise you there's a lesson to
Amen.
this. There's a lesson to it.
Oh, amen.
You know, I also wonder, being in the public eye, what has public service cost you personally?
Well, I don't know what it cost me because I got so much out of being a servant.
Sure.
And in the first place, I don't think I ever looked at trying to make money. But I would love to make money. Don't get me wrong. I don't mean it like that, but I'm just saying that was not my goal. That was never my goal. Sure. And it's just to learn how to be a good servant was what I was all about. But it has cost me time with my families, time with my children, and I try to spend as much time with the grandchildren and the children as much as you can because you want to make up for the people that are dear to you and that you love and you care about. And that's what I do now, you know. And, because
and what do the grandchildren call you? They call you granddad or they call you grandpa?
A granddad. Yeah,
granddad. Does that give you great joy? Because they say,
it is good.
They say a parent is one thing, but once you're a grandparent.
The kids don't matter. You know, it's the grandkids. It's the grandkids. The kids matter. I don't mean it like that.
I know what you mean.
But it's the grandkids, you know.
They matter.
Right now, I got a girl and a boy, and I got one in service and one is a nurse out of college.
Wow.
And a great grandson now from one of the married kids. Yeah.
Okay.
And beautiful kid that I got to hold yet because they're off in another city.
Yeah.
But the truth of the matter is I love kids. I always have.
Yeah.
And I love young people to try to help them because they got so much promise. And you can see the promise. Say, God, that person there can be the next president, the next doctor.
You never know.
You never know. The next preacher. And they're a blank slate, and God has put it upon them what He wants them to be. All you have to do is overcome those obstacles and not be mesmerized by idiot things that go on in your life, because those obstacles are going to try to block you from getting there.
And they will.
They
will try to.
They'll
they
prevail.
will try.
That's right. So you got to have it in your, and you can't overcome them.
No, you can't. You can. You can overcome. You can.
Don't let somebody tell you you're too tall, you're too fat, you're too young, you're too old, or whatever, black or white. I don't care what it is, but don't believe that. Believe in yourself and believe in God. Believe in God for you'll make it. You'll make it always.
When you announced your retirement, what emotions were going through you? I was there. I was there at one of the parties.
You were.
One of the parties. And I got to see your daughter-in-law speak about you. And I think that's the one that kind of touched you the most. Not that anybody else didn't touch you, but she knows you. That's your daughter-in-law. Yeah. I wonder, hearing her speak, what kind of emotions were going through you when you were listening to her?
It is really very humbling. I got to tell you, it really is. It is when she does it, when she did it. And the governor and people who are peers in the state senate, people who are my delegation members here in Columbus, members of the family, and you listen to them, what they're saying to you, and it sounds. And I'm just, who are they talking about? Who are they talking about?
About you.
And I promise you, I get that, and I said, wow, why are they saying all those things? People have done this, people have done that. But really, I'm really humbled by it, and really, and I don't let it. I hate to say it this way, but I'm blessed to be able to hear it. But I got to be honest with you, it's like they're talking about somebody else.
Wow.
And I don't. It's just like, well, wow. I mean, I appreciate that. What it is that when the limelight of blessings like that come your way. God does what He does. You know what I mean? And I never expected it, and I didn't look for it. And when that kind of adulation, for want of a better word, praise, as it were, come your way, and you're not used to people saying thank you. To that extent.
I feel on that one.
So I was blessed and humbled by it, and very thankful that I could do it in that way.
Let's say that you're in the last days of your life.
Yes.
And it happens. It's going to happen.
Yeah, sure.
What do you hope people are saying about you when you leave?
I remember someone saying this to me before, and I think I can remember who said it even. He was a good man, and he did his best. He was a good man. And if someone says that, and it's true, I think that, hey, what can you say, what can you say if you say he was a good man?
Yeah, he did his best.
He did his best. And you don't have to dress it up with all kind of flowers and use $1,000 words.
Right. That's funny.
There goes a good man.
But he was a good man.
He was a good man.
He was a good man.
That's right. And anybody can achieve that status because I'm not a king. I'm just an humble servant. And that's all I always will be. So I'm good to go.
Let's say that there's an empty room and there's 2 chairs in this empty room.
My grandmother, Annabelle Minder.
It's 2 chairs in this empty room, and there is the younger Ed Harbison in this room, and he's waiting on the now Ed Harbison to enter this room patiently to give him advice. What are you saying to him?
Boy, listen to your grandmother more. You better do it. She's on the right track.
Yeah.
It is so. That's really a difficult question because in reality, you think Jesus, you think grandmother, mother, daddy.
You give them all that advice.
You say, oh, golly, if I wish I could just talk to everybody in that context, but you can't. But you gave me the scope of one person. And I would just say an earthly person would be my grandmother, Annabelle Minder, because she was so intelligent, endowed with the wisdom of the ages, so to speak. And you learn a lot, and I don't care what halls you walk through and what knowledge you obtain, they were right.
Yeah.
They were right.
Yeah.
The words may have been enunciated with such grandeur or not, but they were right with that simplistic approach.
Yeah.
They were right.
And so that's what you would tell your younger self. Listen to
listen
right.
to them. They're right. Listen to them. And discernment is one of the most blessed things that God can endow you with. I can talk to people. I really can. And I can see what they're doing. I really can.
I believe it.
And I may not say it, and I almost never say it, but I know what they're doing when they're doing it. If there's some disingenuous stuff that's going on there, or if it's, but I never say it. You just tuck it away and pray for them.
Yeah.
So you have to arrive to that place in your life, and your what to get Bogart's looking glass self. You have to arrive to that place in yourself where you're satisfied with the highest level of your competence, but at the same time appreciated in other people because none of us are perfect. Yeah. We know that.
That's
so
true.
Just be blessed.
Well, Mr. Ed Harbison, I've had so much fun talking to you.
Thank you.
I'm so glad that we had this chance, and I hope that you come back and join me again later
Anytime.
on. Yeah.
Now, when I get the next award, I'll be back again. This is what you said. But I'm just honored to be here. Thank you. And God bless you for what you're doing.
Thank you, Mr. Ed.
It is great. It have a great impact on us.
Thank you.
Brought to you by MSW Productions.